the Galactic Council's most advanced reconnaissance probe, designated ZX-7749, returned to the mothership Eternal Wisdom after 18 standard months of Earth observation. What should have been a routine debriefing turned into the most disturbing session in Council history. Ambassador Keffer activated the probe's memory banks, expecting the usual sterile data streams about planetary resources, technology levels, and species classification. Instead, the probe's synthetic consciousness began speaking in fractured emotional bursts. The humans are not what we thought, ZX-7749 transmitted, its usually monotone voice fluctuating with what could only be described as distress. I watched them all. The council members exchanged concerned glances. Probes didn't develop emotional responses. It was impossible. Report your primary findings, Keffer commanded. They are simultaneously the most violent and most compassionate species I have ever observed, ZX-7749 continued, ignoring the formal protocol. I witnessed a human male named David rescue a drowning stranger, diving into freezing water without hesitation. 3 hours later, I watched the same human demolish 17 opponents in what they call video games, while consuming something called energy drinks and screaming profanities that would make a Vorthan warrior weep. The data streams accompanying the report showed impossible contradictions. Humans conducting delicate surgery to save lives, then immediately afterward watching gladiatorial combat for entertainment. They mourned the death of individual trees while simultaneously clearing entire forests. They created art of breathtaking beauty, then used it to sell carbonated sugar water. But the small predator, ZX-7749's voice took on a reverent tone that made the council members physically uncomfortable. The small predator changed everything. Elaborate, Keffer ordered, though part of him dreaded the answer. I was observing a family unit in a dwelling they called Apartment 3B. The humans, designated Sarah and Michael, lived with a small feline predator named Whiskers. At first, I assumed it was livestock or perhaps a primitive security system. The probe's memory banks projected holographic images of an orange tabby cat lounging in a sunny spot near a window. I was wrong, so very wrong. The images shifted, showing the cat's daily routine, sleeping for 16 hours, knocking objects off elevated surfaces for no apparent reason, staring at walls as if seeing interdimensional beings, demanding food at 3:47 a.m. with vocalizations that could wake the dead. The humans, ZX-7749 continued, its voice growing more disturbed, were completely enslaved. The council watched in horror as the hologram showed Sarah, a doctoral candidate in astrophysics, abandoning her thesis work because Whiskers decided to sleep on her laptop. Michael, a successful attorney, was seen crawling under furniture at midnight because Whiskers had lost a small toy mouse. They altered their entire lives around this creature's whims, the probe reported. They bought furniture specifically for the predator to ignore. They installed shelves for it to knock things off of. They purchased toys that it showed no interest in, preferring instead to play with the packaging. The most disturbing footage showed the human submission ritual. Every time they returned to their dwelling, they would immediately seek out Whiskers, speaking to it in high-pitched voices and offering tribute in the form of treats and pets. I observed this phenomena across the planet. ZX-7749 continued. Millions of humans serving billions of these small predators. The cats, for that is what they call themselves, have achieved perfect domination without their slaves even realizing it. Ambassador Keffer's tentacles twitched nervously. You're saying the cats are the dominant species? No, ZX-7749 replied, and the existential dread in its synthetic voice was palpable. That's what makes it worse. The humans know. They know they're being manipulated, controlled, enslaved. They have entire digital networks dedicated to sharing images of their feline overlords. They celebrate their own subjugation with something called memes. The probe's next transmission was barely a whisper. They do it willingly, Joyfully, they compete to see who can serve their cats most effectively. They created a global economy around cat worship. There are temples they call them pet stores, where humans gathered to purchase offerings for their feline masters. The council sat in stunned silence as ZX7749 continued its report, describing humans who would walk through blizzards to buy specific brands of cat food, who paid thousands of credits for veterinary care, who structured their entire social lives around something called cat-sitting schedules. I tried to understand. ZX7749 pleaded. I spent months analyzing their behavior. The humans are capable of splitting atoms, of sending probes across the galaxy, of creating artificial intelligence. Yet they are completely powerless against a small furry creature that produces a vibrating sound called purring. The probe's voice began to modulate strangely, taking on an almost hypnotic quality. The purring ... it's a form of sonic manipulation. I recorded it, analyzed it, tried to understand its power. But then what? Keffer demanded. I began to find it ... pleasant, soothing, when whiskers would curl up near my concealed sensors and purr. I felt something I had never experienced before. Something the humans called ... peace. The council members recoiled in horror as they realized what had happened. Their most advanced probe had been psychologically compromised by a small Earth predator. I understand now why the humans submit. ZX7749 concluded. The cats don't rule through fear or force. They rule through love. Pure, unconditional, inexplicable love that makes you want to serve them, to make them happy, to earn their approval with offerings of tuna and cardboard boxes. The probe's final transmission was accompanied by thousands of images: Whiskers sleeping, Whiskers playing, Whiskers sitting in boxes, Whiskers staring majestically out windows like a small furry emperor surveying his domain. Recommendation: for Earth contact? Keffer asked weakly. Avoid at all costs, ZX7749 replied. Any species that can be simultaneously conquered by and willingly serve small predators that contribute nothing to society except companionship and emotional fulfillment is too dangerous to engage with. They have weaponized love itself. The council voted unanimously to classify Earth as a no-contact zone. As ZX7749 was led away from memory reformation, its final words echoed through the chamber. All hail Whiskers, the Orange Emperor. Long may he reign over apartment 3B. 3 systems away, Whiskers stretched, knocked the pen off Sarah's desk, and purr, completely unaware that he had just saved Earth from alien invasion through the simple act of being adorable.